Hello everyone, welcome back. In this session, let's talk about dictionary. Okay, we have talked about list, we have talked about tuples. Okay, let's talk about dictionary. Okay, so dictionary, the dictionaries are powerful, versatile, and widely used data structures. Okay, so when we talk about data structures, what we mean is that what are the things that we use to store data and manipulate data? You already know that everything we do here is we are working with data, we are storing data, we are manipulating data. That's what we do here. Okay, so now dictionary is one of the structures that we use to store data and manipulate data. So dictionaries store data in key value pairs. All right. So dictionaries are their elements are in pairs. List, tuple, their elements are not in pairs. All right. Dictionaries, their elements are in pairs, but a pair is made up of a key and a value. So allowing for fast lookups and efficient data manipulation. So um, let's show you what it looks like. So you can create a dictionary using curly braces or the dict constructor function. Okay, so now this is what a dictionary looks like. You create a dictionary with the curly brace. Okay, and if you take a look at this, we have some pairs here. Look at these pairs are separated by commas. All right, they are separated by commas. So this is key and value pair. There is a key, there is a value. All right, and this key value are separated by colon. Key and value, key and value. So let me go to code and show you. Okay, so look at what I have here. Look at this. Look at this dictionary. Okay, this dictionary contains look at look at this pair. This is a pair and this one is a pair. So these pairs are separated by comma. Okay, so you can see we have a key here and we have a value. Okay, so this is the key. The key here is fruit and the value of this fruit is apple. So in case you want to look up for fruit, all right, when we look up for fruit, we are going to get the value assigned to it. So another example could be that we might want to have a student data. So the data we will use to store our students details. So we can go like this and with curly brace, all right? Then we say the student's first name, okay? The student's first name, all right? And the value of this first name is Peter, okay? Then the next pair would be age, and the value of this age is going to be, let's say, 98. All right. The next pair could be courses. What are the courses that they are taking? Okay. What are the courses that they are taking? The value could, now look at it. You can see that here now I'm creating a list. Okay. So this could be Python. It would also have the JavaScript or Java. Let's just do Java for, okay. So look at what I'm doing here. I'm storing students' details. Okay. So I have a pair here. I have three pairs. This is the first pair, this is the second pair, and this is the third pair. And these pairs are separated by commas. So each pair has a key and a value. The key and the value for a pair are divided, is divided by, what's it called again? Colon. Okay, so the first one is the key, the second one is the value. The first one, the age here is the key, and 98 is the value. Okay, so the keys can only be immutable data types. Remember, immutable data types. String here, this is a string. So a string is an immutable data type. We can also use numbers as integers or floats. All right, we can use tuples. Okay, so now the value can be any data type. All right, remember, key value pair, the left-hand side is key, the right-hand side is value, and they are separated by colon. Okay, so the value can be anything. Look at it. Here, the value is a string. Here, the value is an integer. And here, the value is a list. Okay, the value is a list. So this is how key value pairs work in dictionary. You start with you open a curly brace and then put in the key, the pairs. All right, these key value pairs, All right, I hope you understand this. Okay. So now you can also create a dictionary using the dict constructor. You can use the dict constructor. So if I want to create a dictionary using the dict constructor, I can just say, let me use another variable. What else can I add here? I can say employee. I can say employee. So in this is the equivalent of object in JavaScript. Okay, so I'm going to use the dict constructor function. So this thing will ask you for key value pairs separated in commas. So I will say the first key value pair would be the constructor's name. Okay, and the value is John Doe. All right. Then you see, I'm trying to write another key value pair. I could say salary. I could say salary as another key value pair. And the salary is 99.999. Okay. So you can see, I think we are having, oops. Oh, okay. So the syntax is actually different. Sorry about that. It is not, now you will be separating them. You'll not separate them with, oh, okay. Look at it. Sorry. Name, then, okay, I get it now. I do not use this one often, so that is why the syntax seems like. Okay, so let me go and fix it. Okay, so look at what I will do here. Okay, this is how it goes. This is the syntax. Okay, name is equal to John Doe. Salary is so the Python is going to convert these things for you, and is equal to. Okay, so this is how when you're using the dict constructor function. This is the syntax. All right, you don't need to put them in. You don't need to put the key, all right, in quotes. Okay, but instead of using same colon to differentiate the key value pair, you're going to use equal to. All right, it's just a thing of over time you master it. Okay, so you can create using the curly brace. You can create using the dict constructor function. So how do you access the values? Okay, how do you access values using keys? So if I want to access, look at it. If I want to access, okay, let me go to this my student's details. If I want to access this student first name, what I will do is this. I will say, first name is equal to student of, you can see Python is giving me 30 cents. I can go for the first name like this, and I can go on and print fn. Okay, so if I go on and print it, it's giving me Peter. So let me just clear my terminal. Okay, so if I go on and print it now, it will give me Peter. All right, if I want to look for the age, it will give me 98. Okay, so it's as if you're using indexing, just use the square bracket, but inside the square bracket, normally when we are accessing list or tuple, we use in their indexing. But here, instead of using their indexing, you're going to use the key. You're going to use the key. So inside this square bracket, we are putting in the key. Okay, all right. So you can also access it using the get method. All right, don't worry, we'll talk about get method extensively later on in this session. So you can also use the get method to access it. So now the difference between accessing using this square bracket and the get method is that with the get method, it is safer because the get method will return none if the key does not exist. But now let me explain this thing with code. If I try to access something now that the key does not exist, I don't have ages as a key, or I don't have salary as a key on the student dictionary. I don't have salary. If I try to access this now, it's going to get through an error because salary is not a key in this dictionary. We'll get an error, key error. So it's telling us that salary does not exist on this dictionary. But if I use get, all right, get will not throw an error. Don't worry, we'll talk about get later on. Get will not throw an error. So if I say I want to get salary, it will not throw an error. It will only return none. You see, it return none, so it will not throw an error. So I can also, if I use the get to get the first name, all right, it will give me the first name if it exists. Okay, you can see. So if you use the square bracket to access a value of a key, if the key does not exist, it will throw an error. If you use the get method to access it and the key does not exist, it will return none instead of an error. Okay. So how do you add and how do you update items? So you can add a new key value pair or update an existing one. So how do you do this? All you have to do is use the square bracket and put in the name of the key and give it a value. So if I go to students, let me take this guy out. If I go to students, if I want to add to students, I'm going to use the student then square bracket. Then I'm going to add, let's say, country. Do you understand? Let's say country. Then I will now say equal to um, Belgium. Okay. Then if I go on and print this student dictionary, look at it. Look at what I'm doing here. You know, just like you use indexing, if you want to add or access any this thing on a list, you can actually use the index like this. Okay. Now here we are using the square bracket. Then we are now adding the key. Now, so this is the key and this is the value. So if I go ahead and save, clear my terminal, all right, and then run Python script.py. You can see now we have country in this list. Before we did this, before this line 7, we didn't have country. All right. But now we have added country and now we now have country here. Okay. So this is how you add a key, a new key and their value to a dictionary. Okay. And if you also want to update, it's as simple as that. If I want to update the student's age, all right, this is what I will just do. I will just put in this as age here, and I will just say 87. All right. The same way, the same way I add, instead of adding a new key value pair, I would use the old key and then change the value. So if I run this code now, you're going to see that age has been changed. So look at it, age has been changed to 87. So this is how you add, or this is how you update. Okay, so this is how you add and this is how you update. So if you want to add, you call the name of the dictionary, then open a square bracket like this, then put in the new key and then equal to the value. If you want to update, okay, you can add just like we did. Use the old, that's in the key you want to update and add a new and give it a new value. Okay, so that's how you want. So all you have to do is to practice this thing. As I'm coding, code along, practice it, practice it. So how do you remove items? All right. There are several ways. You can use the pop method to remove it. We'll talk about pop method later on. All right. So when you call the pop method on the dictionary, it will remove it. You can also use the delete keyword. You can say delete a particular distance. So now you can also use pop item. Now we are going to discuss pop and pop item later on, but let's talk about the delete keyword. So if I want to delete, all right, if I want to delete age, all I have to do is this. I will use the delete keyword like this. All right. So if I delete this age now, age will no longer be available in this dictionary. So if I go on and look at it, we no longer have age. We only have first name and courses because we have deleted this particular key. All right, we have deleted this particular key value pair in it. All right. So if you want to delete you want to delete the list altogether, you just have to say delete and the name of the dictionary variable. And if, after deleting it, if you try to access it, we are going to get an error because it doesn't exist. So because we have deleted it, we will not have access to it again. It will no longer be available. So if you try to delete it, you see, we get a name error because we have deleted this dictionary and we are trying to call it, so it will not be available. That's why we have name error. Okay, so you can use the delete keyword to delete a particular key, or you can use it to delete the entire dictionary. So if you want to delete a particular key, all you have to do is to put the curly brace like this and add age like this, and it will delete it. Okay, so we'll talk about pop and pop item later on. We have a particular section for that. So if you want to clear all the elements, all the items in a dictionary, you can also do that. Don't worry, we'll talk about it, the clear method too. So now let's talk about dictionary methods. So let's talk about the few methods that are available in dictionary and how to use them. Okay. The first one is the clear. When you call clear method, clear function, clear method on a dictionary, it will delete, it will clear everything and make it, and the dictionary will not be an empty dictionary. So now the difference between clear and delete is that if I call delete, that dictionary will be out. But if I say student, oops, all right. If I say students dot clear, all right, I will clear everything. I'm not deleting the dictionary itself, but I'm clearing all the items. So the difference between clear and delete is that when you delete, the dictionary will no longer be available. Python will remove it from memory. But when you clear, Python will clear all the items in it and make it an empty dictionary. So if I go on now and save, um, and clear, then I run the code. You can see we have student as an empty dictionary because we have cleared everything in it. So if you use the clear method, it's going to clear all the items, all right, but it will not delete the dictionary to clear it, okay? So you see, when you clear it and print, it's an empty dictionary. We also have the copy method. When you copy, you're going to have a shallow copy. Remember when we talked about shallow copying in list, all right, the same thing applies here, all right? When you copy, you're copying a shallow copy. You're having a shallow copy. That means if yes, a new object will be created definitely, all right. But if you have nested, because you can also have nested dictionary. If you have some nested dictionary inside of it, it will copy the reference, all right. And any changes you make on that reference will affect the original one. So if you want to do deep copy, you use the deep copy method, all right? So, but right now, if you use the copy method, you're actually going to make a shallow copy. So you can actually do the same thing. So I'm not going to talk too much about this right now. Okay, all you have to do is to still copy, all right? And I can just say um, copied is equal to this. So when I call this copied, okay, so I'm going to have a copy. So Python is going to create a new object. So this copied and the student, they are not going to be pointing to the same reference. There will be a new object altogether. So if I run this code now, you will see that we have a copy of it. But if I try to say, give me the ID, if I try to say, give me the ID of this copied, all right, and also give me the ID of the student, you will see that they have different, they will have different IDs. So let me print something here, a new line. Okay, to differentiate it. So I'm going to clear, then I'll run Python. So you can see that they have different IDs because Python created a new object here. So when I did a copy, shallow copy, Python will create a new object. So there are two different objects now. So if I modify copied, it will not affect students. Okay? All right. So it's a shallow copy. So you can also do from keys. You can also create You create a new dictionary from a sequence of keys with a common value. Now look at it. How does this thing work? Let's say you have a list. Okay, you have list of maybe properties of a student. Okay, so you can make a list using that. You can make a dictionary using that list. Now we have this list A, B, C. So this could be our keys. Then when we say dict dot from keys, all right, we'll pass in the keys. Then this will be the common value. So when you do something like this, all the keys will have a common value. All right. There could be cases where you will need this. Okay. Now, if I say this copied now, okay, I have let's say maybe I should just clear everything so that we'll have less code here. I have a list of keys. Okay, I have key A, I have B, and I have C. Okay, all right. Okay, let me make it more practical. Let's say I have some students. I have John, all right. I have Ben, and I have James. Okay, so I want to create their scores, but initially I want to have before the test, this is their scores. So I will say dict dot from keys. So I will pass in these keys that I have, and then their default, everybody, before the test, everybody is scoring 0. So this could be a way of using this. So before the test, I have a list of names of my students. Then I want to create a dictionary for their scores. So everybody is scoring 0 now. So if I go ahead and print this score, you will see that it is going to be a dictionary, but they are all going to be scoring 0 at this time. So later on, after they take the test, okay, and I want to make some changes, I will now say scores. Let's say I want to um I want to update this scores dictionary. So I want to update score for John. I will have to do is that I can ask, okay, John scored 87. So if I go ahead and print this new score, all right, I will have to save, then I will have to clear. If I go ahead and run this code now, you will see that the first one, everybody was scoring 0. So after updating it, I now have 87 for John. So this could be a scenario where you use it from keys. All right, you have a list and you want to create a dictionary before you start updating it. So this could be one of them. All right. So now you can also do the get method. With the get method, you will get the value of a particular key. Now let's say I want to get the scores of John. So I will say scores dot get. Okay. I will pass in John. Okay. So let me delete this print statement here. So I will say I want to get the value of John, the score of John. So when I run it now, you see it gave me 87. But now look at the difference. If I have shown you already, if you use instead of using get, I can actually use the square bracket to look for John. But if I go on and use that and the key does not exist, it will give me an error. I have already shown you that. But for this one, if I try to access Johnny, all right, it will not give me any error. It will return none instead of giving me error. So you can also tell Python, okay, I want to use the get method for a particular key. In case that key does not exist, give it a default value. I can say the default value is 0. If this key does not exist, give it a default value. Instead of returning none to me, give it a default value. So I'm giving a default value of 0. If Johnny does not exist in our dictionary, we'll give it a default value of 0. Okay, do you understand what I did here? Of course, you can, if you try to access the key without the key that does not exist using the get, you get none. But you can say, okay, all right, if not Johnny does not exist, or you give it a default value of 0. Okay, so these are the two ways you can actually use the get method. You can use it without the default value, and if the key does not exist, it will return none. But if the you can also give it a default value of 0. If the key does not exist, it will return 0. But if the key exists, it will return the value of that key. So if I save now and run this thing now, John exists, so there's no need for the default value anymore. So just play with these things, okay? Play with these things, okay? So, it returns the value for a given key or a default value if the key is not found. So if you give it a default value, it will return the default value. If the key does not exist, it will return none. Okay. So basically that's what we have done here. So we have this person dictionary and we are getting the name. So it will give us Bob. So if we try to get city, city does not exist in this, the key city does not exist. And we are saying give it the default value of not available. All right. So this could be it could come handy when you're trying to access something. The user wants to say something, and because that key does not exist, you tell the user, "Oh, this is not available," something like that, instead of saying them none. So another method is items. So if you want to loop through, if you want to get all the items in that dictionary, use the items method. So it returns a view object displaying a list of dictionary key value pairs. So this is going to return a list. So if you say this is the dictionary, if you call the items on it, it will return a list like this. So let's go and let me show you an example here. If I go on and call, if I say scores dot items, this will return a list for me. Look at it. It's going to return a list of maybe tuples. Yes, you can see it's a list of tuples. Look at it. This is a list. Okay. Okay. Let me instead of print, let me save it in a variable first. I will say let me just call it like this is equal to this. So yeah, I'm going to print, but basically this is actually, if I print this, it's going to give us a list of this. So what did it give us? Yeah, look at what it gave us. It gave us a dict item. So you can actually iterate through this thing now. So basically, this is actually used in looping of a, a dictionary. So you can see this thing is giving us dict item, whatever, whatever. But if you want to loop through this thing, it's an iterable. If you want to loop through it, you will loop through it as if it is a tuple. Don't worry, when we do looping, I'm going to show you especially how to use this items method. You basically use this item method when you're looping through the dictionary, okay? So we also have keys. When you call the keys method on a dictionary, it will return just the keys. It will return all the keys that you have. All right. So when you have name and age. When you call the keys method on this dictionary, it will return a list of key of all the keys. So it will return name and age. So if I go on to show you this like this now, if I say I don't want the items, okay, I want the keys. Okay, so if I print it now, it's going to give me um most of this, the list, the item, the keys, and the values, they are used when you're looping because they are all returning iterable, and you might not understand what this is here. So if you want to have access to all the items, you use the items method. If you want to have access to all the keys, you use the keys method. If you want to have access to all the values, all right, these keys will return the keys. The value method will return all the values. So this is going to give us the values of this key, of this dictionary. So you can see we gave us 8700. Okay, so don't worry, when we do looping, you're going to understand these methods better. So we also have the value that I've just shown you. It will return all the values of the dictionary. All right. So we also have the pop method. Now the pop method will remove and return the value for the specified key. So with the pop method, if you give it a key, it will remove it from the dictionary and return it to you. Okay. So in case you want to make use of it. But if the key is not found, it will return the default value if you specify a default value, or it will raise a key error. So now let me go and show you. All right. So remember we are creating this course from the keys, so we can still continue to use it. Now I'm going to say I want to say this is popped item. So I will say scores dot pop. Okay, so what am I popping? I want to pop the key for John. All right. So if I try to do that, it will pop it, to remove it and return. So let me print the scores now. After popping, John will be removed. And then I would also print a demarcation here. Okay. Then I will now print uh, popped. So popped is going to have the item that we removed. It's going to have the John item. So after doing this, okay, we are going to, let's run the code. So you can see here the scores was Ben and James because we have popped it. We have popped it. So John does not exist here anymore. And what does pop return? Pop will return the value of John, which is 0. Do you understand? So pop will return, all right, it will return the value of John. Okay, look at it. It says it removes specified key and return the corresponding value. Okay, so this is for pop. So if you try to pop something that does not, the key that does not exist, let's try to do Johnny. All right, it will throw an error. It will throw an error. Johnny does not exist, but you can give it a default value. Okay, you can give it a default value. Just like we were doing, we did, which other one did we do? And we gave it a default value. Okay. What's it again? The last few method that we just did that we gave it a default value. Get. Okay. So if you try to get it and the key does not exist, it will return none. All right. You can give it a default value. But for pop, if you try to access a key that does not exist, it will throw an error. So, but you can give it a default value of 0. So if you try to do this now, it will not going to throw any error again because you have given it a default value. All right, so it will return that default value 0. But of course, it didn't, there was nothing to pop because Johnny does not exist. So this will not throw any error. Okay, all right. So you can also use the pop item. The pop item will remove the last inserted key value pair. That means it will remove the key value pair at the end of it. So if we go on now to do this, we have the last key value pair that was added is James. Look at it. Look at here. The last item here is James and the value. Okay. So if I try to do pop item and I want to pop, I don't, I'm not, you know, will not pass any argument here. All right, it will not pass any argument here. So it will do what? It will pop it and return. It will return the item itself. With the pop, will return the value of, it will remove the item and return the value. But pop item will remove the item and return the item. So if you want to have access to the whole item that you're popping, you use the pop item. Okay, so if I go ahead now and run this code, we are going to have, you can see, after removing James from the end of the dictionary, James was also returned for us through the pop variable. Okay. All right. So you just have to practice these things. Okay. Practice them. So you can also you can return a value of a specified key. All right. If the key does not exist, insert the key with a specified value. Now, if you try to access, just like when we are using pop, okay, we are using pop, we are using get, all right, and if get tries to get a particular key, all right, if that key does not exist, get will return none or return the default value you gave it. But for set default will return the value of a specified key. But if that key does not exist, set default will add it. Do you understand it? Set default will add it it's like you're modifying it. So now look at the difference. So we have name. we have name, the value, the key is name and the value is Tom. So when we call set default on this dictionary and we are adding age, remember age does not exist here. So when we add this age, when we are trying to get this age does not exist. And since age does not exist, this set default will add it to the dictionary and return the key, the value, sorry. So let me go and show you. All right, here, we do not have Peter, okay, in this our dictionary. So I'm going to say scores dot set default, okay. Set default will take in, we'll do Peter. Since Peter does not exist, it's going to add 78 as Peter's score. So if I go on then and print scores, you're going to see that Peter will be added. I want you to understand the differences between all these things we are doing, all right? You don't need to cram them, just have to practice them. Okay, you can see Peter was added. Okay, and if I also try to print this Peter variable here, if I try to print this Peter variable here, it's going to return, oops, sorry, not pass. It will return this Peter and the value will be 78. So if I try to, if I run, you can see it added Peter and also returned 78 for us. But if we try to access a value which is John that already exists, all right, it is not going to add this John because John already exists. It will only return the value of John, which is 0. So I will clear and run the code again. You can see, okay, John already exists, and then he gave us the value. But if John does not exist, it will add John and give it a value of 78 and return it for us. So just play around with these things, okay? So you can also use the update. If you want to merge two dictionaries, you use the update method. All right, so I will leave you to do this. It's very simple. You have a dictionary 1, you have dictionary 2. All right, so the updated, if you say dictionary 1.update, if you call dictionary 1.update and pass in the dictionary 2 to it as an argument, dictionary 1 will now have age and city in it. So look at it. When you print this, you're going to have, you can see it has, after updating it, it has this age and city. And this age and city is coming from dictionary 2. So I will leave you to practice this yourself. If you don't get it, please reach out to us, okay? But practice it yourself. All right. So let's talk about how to loop through a dictionary. Okay, so first thing first, you can loop through the keys. If you're interested in, oh, I just want to loop through the keys of this dictionary, you can actually do it. So you will do key in my dict, okay, and you print the key, okay. So let's go and see. Okay, let's take this one out. So let's loop through. So I will say, in as much as we have not talked about follow, but it's okay, just follow along. I will say for key in scores. All right, then I'll put a colon here and I will now say print key. So I'm going to, the Python will loop through all the scores, and for all the keys, it will add each and every, don't worry, when we talk about loop, I'm going to teach you how to loop, okay? So, but for now, this is how you access the key. So if I go on now and print, you are going to see we have John, Ben, and James. They are the keys. So we are looping through the keys. So this is how you loop through the keys. You can also loop through the keys by calling scores.keys method. I showed you before. And if we do this, we are still going to get the same thing. So this will be more readable, all right, in order to avoid confusion, all right? If you want to loop through the values, okay, you just call the values method on it. So what do you expect? Instead of giving us the keys, it will give us the values, all right? You can see give us the values. But what if I want to loop through the items, all the items? I don't want the keys, I don't want the values, I want to loop through all the items. This thing will return a tuple. So how do you do it? You will now say key and value like this. All right. So the key will hold the key and the value will hold their value. So I can do keys, comma, values. So it will print their name and their values alongside. Don't worry, when we talk about loops, you're going to understand better. But when you call this items method, it's going to return a tuple. And that's why we are not doing Unpacking. Yeah, what we are doing here, I taught you unpacking in tuples. So this is unpacking. We are unpacking the tuples that we are going to get from this items method. So if I run this code now, we are going to get the key and the value, John 0, Ben 0. Okay. So, but don't worry, we're going to learn loop in a later chapter. Okay. So you can look through the values, you can look through the keys. Okay. But if you don't put anything, if you just call the name of the dictionary, is going to call the key, but it's better you say dictionary.keys. It will be more readable. It will not be confusing. Okay. All right. So make sure you practice all these things you're showing here. So I taught you list comprehension. We also have dictionary comprehension. All right. So if you have a dictionary like this, okay, you can create a dictionary like this. So remember the range method. So let's go and create a dictionary. So with the range method, we are going to create the squares of a number. So look at it. If I go now, say, I will call it squares is equal to. Now remember, because we are creating a dictionary comprehension, we'll use the curly brace. All right. If you're creating a list comprehension, you will use the square bracket. Okay. Now, first of all, I will say for X in then range, I want to have a dictionary of the squares of all the numbers from 1 to 10. But since I want 10 to be inclusive, I will make here 11. So then I will now come, remember my expression will now be X colon, then X, this, X. I hope you understand this. Look at it. This is the loop, all right? Remember in the list comprehension, this is the loop, all right? Then this is the expression, okay? So since we are creating a dictionary, X will be the key, colon, then square of S will now be the value. All right. So all you have to do is take some time and watch the syntax. But if you understand all we have been teaching here, this is not going to be hard. But if you don't understand it, please reach out to us. We'll explain more to you. Okay. So if I go on now and print squares, you're going to see we are going to have a dictionary of numbers from 1 to 10. So if I go on and print this, you can see we have 1 is 1, 2 is 4, 3 is 27, 4 is, you can see. So this is it. All right. So this is it. So you can see the dictionaries that we have here. This one is for 1. This one is for 2. All right. We are not doing, this is actually power raised to power. This is not square. Sorry. Forgive me. This is 1 raised to power 1, 2 raised to power 2, 3 raised to power 3, 4 raised to power 4. So that's what we have here. So these are the pairs separated by comma, and this whole thing is a dictionary. Okay. If I go on and say squares.keys, squares.values, squares.items, it will give us all those things that we have been working with. Okay, so this is how you create a dictionary comprehension. If you don't understand it, please reach out to us. But if you understand the list comprehension we did last time, this will not be hard for you to understand. But in case you don't understand it, please reach out to us, okay? You can also have nested lists. I'm not going to talk too much about this because if you understand the nested list we talked about in nested list, nested dictionary will not be a hard thing. Now, the key is person, and the value of the key is another dictionary. You understand? Now remember, the key must always be an immutable data type, but the value can be anything. It can be integers, it can be dictionaries, it can be lists, it can be tuples. So when the value of your key is a dictionary, so it means that we have a nested dictionary. Okay, so just like the way we have been working with all the, everything here, that's the way you also do it. So if you want to access it, you access it using the key. All right. Then when you use the key, that means you're going to be getting a dictionary. So if you want to get it, now I'm going to leave you to figure this thing out. Now, one thing about computer programming is that you have to be a good thinker. All right. Sort this thing out yourself. All right. Run this code, sort it out yourself. If you don't understand it, reach out to us. Okay. We want you to be thinking, think. All right. So this is not going to be hard. Assessing it is not going to be hard. Okay. So if you want to get the length of a dictionary, you just use the length method. This length method is general. Just pass in, call the length method and pass in the variable you want to find the length of. So you just do it and you get the length. How do you check if a key exists in a dictionary? You use the membership operator, the in operator. So you can say name in dictionary, all right? Name in the variable dictionary. So if this name in dictionary exists, we are going to say key exists, okay? All right. You can also create a dictionary from a list of tuples. So if you have a list of tuples, now you cannot create a dictionary. Yes, if you want to create a dictionary from a list, you will use the from keys method. You have a list and you want to create a dictionary from that list, you use the from keys method. But if you want to create a dictionary from a list of tuples, you can actually use the dict constructor function. I have shown we saw this thing before. So the dict construction function would take a list of tuples, not an ordinary list. It will take a list of tuples because the Python will see this the first one as the key and the second one as the value, key and value. All right. You can also sort a list using the sorted method. All right. So, but this sorted method, you are going to sort you now. Look at what we are doing here. We are calling the sorted method on the um, dictionary.items. Okay, this could be complicated. So let me explain to you. All right. Let me explain to you. So you can sort by keys. You can sort by values. You can also you can sort by lambda. This could be somehow advanced. Okay. I wouldn't want to confuse you with this, but as we go more advanced, okay, we are going to look at this. If as we go more advanced, we are going to look at you can sort by keys, you can sort by values. Or maybe let me give you an assignment. Okay. You don't see, even if you don't know this, it's okay. All right. But please, you need to know it. But I don't want to explain it and cause more confusion. All right. This class has already been lengthy. So I'm giving you an assignment. Apart from the normal assignment we have there, do this thing yourself. If you don't understand it, reach out to me. Let me put it that way. If you don't understand this, reach out to us. All right. So if you want to know this, try and do it yourself. If you don't understand it, reach out to us so that we can explain to you. Okay. Thank you very much. And do your assignment, do your test, and I'll see you in the next class.